In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NBA games happening on March 24, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Minnesota Timberwolves versus Indiana Pacers. This matchup brings an interconference showdown to the hardwood in Indiana as the Minnesota Timberwolves travel to face the Indiana Pacers on Monday night. These two teams are coming in fresh off recent victories, looking to maintain momentum as they inch closer to the postseason. Minnesota is coming off a dominant home performance where they completely dismantled the New Orleans Pelicans in a 134-93 blowout on Friday night. That victory allowed the Timberwolves to split their 2-game series with New Orleans, while also covering the spread as a hefty 15-point favorite. On the other side, Indiana just wrapped up a 2-game home set against Brooklyn, winning both contests. Their most recent game was a 108-103 victory on Saturday night, though they failed to cover the line as 13.5-point favorites. Historically, the Pacers have had the upper hand in this matchup, holding a 42-27 advantage in the all-time regular season series. That edge includes their thrilling 132-130 road win against Minnesota on March 17th, a result that snapped the Timberwolves' 6-game winning streak against Indiana. Heading into this game, Minnesota is closely monitoring the status of Anthony Edwards, who is currently listed as questionable due to a cut on his right thumb. Meanwhile, the Pacers have their own injury concern, as Benedict Mathurin is also questionable with a left ankle sprain. Despite these potential absences, both teams are in relatively good shape health-wise, which is impressive considering how deep into the season we are. Indiana has been on a roll lately, winning 6 of their last 7 contests, and they will have the home court advantage for this game. That could be a crucial factor, especially since the Pacers already secured a road win over Minnesota just last week. Indiana has solidified its position as a playoff lock in the Eastern Conference, whereas the Timberwolves are still working to escape the play-in tournament picture. Stylistically, this game presents a clash of strengths. Indiana boasts the superior offense, while Minnesota thrives on its defense. However, the Pacers managed to carve through the Timberwolves' defensive setup in their previous meeting, which could spell trouble for Minnesota again. The Timberwolves should be eager for revenge after suffering an overtime loss to the Pacers last week, a game they likely feel they let slip away. This has been the story of their season. Flashes of brilliance that resemble last year's form, but also frustrating inconsistencies where they fail to put teams away. Given that Edwards' status is uncertain, it's tough to put full faith in Minnesota here. If you're considering placing a wager, keeping an eye on his availability before tip-off is essential. Indiana didn't look particularly convincing in their narrow victory over a struggling Brooklyn team on Saturday, but their overall form remains strong. Minnesota's defensive effort has been inconsistent, and that's a major concern against an up-tempo Pacers squad that can pile on points in a hurry. Given the circumstances, the safer bet is leaning toward Indiana, especially since they have a relatively clean injury report and are a dominant 23-9 straight up at home. As our first pick for this matchup, the Indiana Pacers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Timberwolves' offense has been on a tear recently, averaging 124 points per game over their last 10 outings, a massive jump of over 10 points from their season-long average. Despite being 23rd in the league in pace with 97.5 possessions per game, they rank 9th in offensive efficiency, making the most of their opportunities. Meanwhile, the Pacers have maintained their usual offensive production, putting up 116.5 points per game in their last 10 matchups, which is right in line with their season average of 117 points per contest. Indiana ranks 10th in offensive efficiency and plays at an accelerated pace, ranking 9th in adjusted tempo with 99.8 possessions per game. Both teams have been incredibly effective when it comes to scoring efficiency. Indiana ranks 4th in the NBA with a 56.2% effective field goal percentage, while Minnesota is still strong in this category, coming in 12th at 55.1%. In terms of offensive ratings, the Timberwolves hold a slight edge, ranking 9th with a 115 rating, while the Pacers Pacers are just behind them at 10th with a 114.9 rating. Last Monday's meeting between these teams in Minnesota saw an offensive explosion with a combined 262 points scored. While this rematch may not reach quite that level, the pace and efficiency of both offenses suggests the final total should still comfortably surpass the projected number. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Toronto Raptors versus Washington Wizards. The Toronto Raptors, currently sitting at 24-47 and ranked 11th in the Eastern Conference, are gearing up to take on the Washington Wizards, who hold a 15-55 record and are in last place in the East. The game is scheduled for March 24th at Capital One Arena, where both struggling teams will look to snap their respective losing streaks. Toronto comes into this matchup having lost 4 straight games, their most recent defeat being a brutal 123-89 blowout at home against the San Antonio Spurs on Saturday. Meanwhile, Washington is also on a 4-game skid, having fallen 122-103 on the road against the New York Knicks this past Friday. This will be the 4th and final time these teams meet this season, with the Raptors currently holding a 2-1 advantage in the series. The Raptors remain shorthanded as they continue to deal with injuries, missing key players such as Chris Boucher, Brandon Ingram, and Grady Dick. However, they could see the return of Jakob Poeltl and Emmanuel Quickley, which would provide a much-needed boost. On the other side, the Wizards are still without Corey Kispert and Malcolm Brogdon, further limiting their depth. Looking at the numbers, Toronto appears to have a slight edge in this matchup. The Raptors currently rank 24th in the NBA in net rating, sitting at -5.3, while the Wizards are dead last in the league at 30th with a -11.7 rating. One area where Toronto has a noticeable advantage is in second chance points. They rank 6th in the league, averaging 15.3 per game, whereas Washington sits at 20th with 13.4 per contest. That ability to capitalize on offensive rebounds could make a real difference in a game between two struggling squads. While the Wizards might seem to have the benefit of playing at home and having a slight rest advantage, they've fallen back into bad habits defensively and have dropped 6 of their last 8 contests. The Raptors, despite their record, tend to stay competitive in most games. They also just defeated the Wizards by 15 points 2 weeks ago and have won 7 of their last 10 meetings overall. Additionally, Toronto has been one of the best teams in the league against the spread this season, with a 42-28-1 against the spread record, making them the 3rd most profitable team for bettors. At this point in the season, neither of these teams has much to play for in terms of playoff contention, but Toronto still plays with more effort on most nights. As our first pick for this matchup, the Toronto Raptors money line is our full game side pick. Both teams have favored an up-tempo style of play throughout the season, with Toronto ranking 13th in the league in pace at 100.12 possessions per game, while Washington plays even faster, ranking 4th with a 102.2 pace. Defense has not been a strong suit for either squad, as the Raptors rank 18th in defensive rating at 114.8, while the Wizards are near the bottom of the league at 28th with a 117.7 rating. These teams are both among the top 10 in possessions per game, with Washington sitting at 4th and Toronto at 8th. They rely on their young players pushing the pace, looking to score in transition rather than setting up slow, deliberate half-court offenses. Neither team has a go-to, elite scorer they can isolate and count on to create buckets one-on-one, so their strategy revolves around moving fast and taking quick, open looks. The Wizards, in particular, have been involved in high-scoring games lately, with 5 of their last 6 contests going over the total. Their pace is a big factor, but so is their lackluster defense, as they rank just 26th in defensive efficiency and consistently give up easy buckets inside. Toronto is also in a tough scheduling spot, playing their second game in as many nights, which could lead to some tired legs and lapses on the defensive end. That should create even more opportunities for both offenses to rack up points in transition. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Los Angeles Lakers versus Orlando Magic. With fewer than 15 games left in the NBA regular season, every matchup carries extra weight, especially for teams fighting for playoff positioning. In this key contest, the Orlando Magic will welcome the Los Angeles Lakers to State Farm Arena. The Lakers currently hold a 43-27 record, which places them 4th in the Western Conference as they battle to secure home court advantage for the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Magic are sitting at 33-38, which has them positioned in 8th place in the Eastern Conference. They are desperately trying to to climb into the 6th seed to avoid the play-in tournament. The Lakers are still monitoring the status of forward Rui Hachimura, who has been upgraded to questionable for this game. On the other side, the Magic have listed both Trevelyan Queen and Cole Anthony as questionable. Orlando enters this matchup coming off a solid win against the Wizards, but that victory doesn't necessarily inspire confidence given Washington's struggles this season. Prior to that game, the Magic had been in a rough stretch, struggling to find consistency. The Lakers, on the other hand, were embarrassed in their previous outing, which was LeBron James' return to action after missing time. Los Angeles has established itself as a top 10 team in effective field goal percentage, and they continue to generate free throw opportunities at one of the highest rates in the league. They have also made improvements on the defensive glass, moving into the top half of the league and limiting opponents' offensive rebounds. In contrast, Orlando has one of the least efficient offenses in the NBA, ranking near the bottom in effective field goal percentage. They also hover around the bottom 10 in turnover rate, making it difficult for them to sustain offensive momentum. At the moment, both the Magic and the Lakers are on track to make the postseason, though their paths will be quite different. Orlando looks destined for the play-in tournament, while Los Angeles is focused on holding on to home court advantage for the first round. This game is particularly crucial for both teams, as every win matters down the stretch. The Lakers have shown offensive improvement since Luka Doncic joined the team, but their defense has been a glaring issue in recent games. In their last outing, they allowed over 140 points to Chicago, a performance they cannot afford to repeat. However, given that Orlando has the worst offensive output in the NBA, it's unlikely the Magic will pose the same kind of scoring threat. The Lakers should be able to capitalize on Orlando's offensive inefficiency by pushing the pace and leveraging their athleticism in transition and around the rim. The Magic have struggled significantly against Western Conference teams this season, holding a poor 8-16-1 record in those matchups. Orlando has lacked any sort of sustained success in recent months, making them a tough team to back with confidence. The Lakers, on the other hand, are as healthy as they've been in weeks and need to stack wins to stay competitive in the Western Conference standings. With the playoff picture still unsettled, Los Angeles could realistically finish anywhere from the 2nd seed to the play-in tournament, so they cannot afford to drop winnable games like this. The betting line seems more than fair, and there's no excuse for the Lakers to underperform. They have been a solid betting option all season, holding a profitable 39-30-1 record against the spread. I can't put any faith in Orlando until they prove they can string together a few wins and find some offensive rhythm. As our first pick for this matchup, the Los Angeles Lakers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. When it comes to the total points, there are strong trends favoring the under. Orlando games at home have hit the under in 21 of 35 contests, while the under is 17-8 when the Magic have faced Western Conference opponents. For the Lakers, the total has gone under in 36 of their 70 games this season, and when they have been favored, the total is evenly split at 21-21. Given that the Magic had the lowest scoring offense in the league but also boast the best scoring defense, this game has all the makings of a low-scoring affair. The Lakers' defense is also a factor, ranking 10th in the league in points allowed per game. Orlando typically plays a slow, methodical style on offense, which reduces the number of possessions and limits scoring opportunities. Meanwhile, Los Angeles has been effective at defending the perimeter, contesting three-point attempts, and forcing opponents into difficult shots. The combination of Orlando's defensive emphasis, their lack of consistent scoring options, and the Lakers' ability to disrupt their rhythm suggests that this will not be a high-scoring matchup. Given both teams' playing styles and statistical trends, a low-scoring outcome seems likely. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Dallas Mavericks versus Brooklyn Nets. Dallas, currently sitting at 34-37, is in a battle to keep their postseason aspirations alive as they head to Barclays Center on Monday night for a showdown against Brooklyn. The Mavericks are coming off a confidence-boosting 123-117 victory over Detroit, a game where they defied expectations as 9.5-point underdogs. Meanwhile, the Nets are looking to bounce back after suffering a tough 108-103 loss to Indiana, despite also being significant underdogs at 13.5 points. Recent history favors Dallas in this matchup, as they have taken 8 of the last 10 meetings against Brooklyn. This will be the first time these two teams face off this season, with another meeting still to come. Injury concerns remain a key storyline leading up to this game. The Mavericks will continue to be without Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and Dante Exum, 3 key players who could have made a major impact. On the other hand, the Nets are closely monitoring the status of D'Angelo Russell and Zaire Williams. who are both listed as questionable. Both squads have struggled recently, with each team dropping 4 of their last 5 games. However, Dallas seems to have an advantage offensively, as they have been shooting at an impressive clip, knocking down over 53% of their field goal attempts over the past 3 games. In contrast, Brooklyn has been ice cold, making less than 40% of their shots during that span. Free throw efficiency also swings in favor of Dallas, as they have converted more than 75% of their attempts from the stripe, while the Nets have struggled to surpass 70%. Additionally, the Mavericks have been aggressive on the boards, securing more than 10 offensive rebounds per game, which provides them with crucial second-chance opportunities. Turnovers are another area where Dallas holds an edge, as they have taken care of the ball well on the road, limiting their opponents' chances to score easy buckets. Defensively, Brooklyn has not been able to stop teams from piling up points, allowing at least 114 points in 2 of their last 3 home contests. If their defensive woes continue, they could have a tough time slowing down a Mavericks team that has been clicking offensively. Heading into this matchup, both teams find themselves in somewhat familiar situations. Dallas is sitting in 11th place in the Western Conference, locked in a tight race with the Phoenix Suns for the final play-in tournament spot. Meanwhile, Brooklyn trails the final play-in position in the East by 6.5 games, a gap that seems nearly insurmountable with just a dozen games left in the season. The Mavericks have dominated this head-to-head series recently, winning 5 straight games against the Nets, including 4 of their last 5 meetings in Brooklyn. While Brooklyn hasn't been winning much, they have managed to cover the spread in 8 of their last 10 games, making them an intriguing play for bettors. However, Dallas remains one of the most injury-riddled teams in NBA history, and they have struggled away from home, losing 21 games on the road. Given those factors, it's tough to feel confident about laying points with the Mavericks. That said, the Nets have been piling up losses and have virtually no shot at making the play-in tournament, which begs the question of whether they have much incentive left to compete at a high level. For Dallas, the stakes are much higher as they remain in the thick of the play-in race. The potential return of Anthony Davis in the near future provides an additional source of motivation. At this point in the season, neither team inspires a ton of confidence, but the Mavericks just picked up a solid win over the Pistons, showing they can take care of business against struggling teams. If Spencer Dinwiddie, PJ Washington, and Klay Thompson can step up, Dallas should have enough firepower to pull this one out. Simply put, if the Mavericks can't win this game, their playoff chances take a major hit. This is essentially a must-win contest for them. As our first pick for this matchup, the Dallas Mavericks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The pace of play is another factor to consider heading into this game. The Nets currently rank near the bottom of the NBA in terms of tempo, meaning they prefer to slow things down and play a half-court game. With their play in hopes virtually non-existent, this game holds little meaning for Brooklyn, whereas Dallas is fighting to extend their season. Brooklyn's preference for a slower style of play has been reflected in recent totals, as the under has hit in 5 of their last 7 contests. Dallas, meanwhile, has had to get creative with their rotations due to injuries. In their last game against the Pistons, they used all 9 available players and set a franchise record by deploying their 39th different starting lineup of the season. They managed to generate plenty of offense from the free throw line in that game, but it's unlikely they'll get as many favorable calls in this one. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.